Hopefully that should be fine.
All right. So we're going to be starting a new unit of study. It's new, but not really new. It's nonfiction. So we've been looking at nonfiction for, it seems like, weeks and weeks and weeks. And this one's about organizing, or how authors choose to organize their information in nonfiction texts. And so some of this may seem basic or stuff that we've gone over before, and that's on purpose. It's really about trying to make sure we really understand what nonfiction is. So what is nonfiction? What is nonfiction, Amelia?
It's facts and tables and things, and they're all organized into chapters to tell you about things.
Okay, so we got some attributes there. London? A real story about someone. Okay, so yeah, we're really going into some very specific nonfiction. Marcos?
It's a story with a realistic environment and time setting, but all the characters not real.
Well, in a nonfiction, everything should be real. So you're right, the setting should be real, but even the people in the book should be real as well.
Yeah, that's one.
So yeah, shouldn't be any fake, or else that would be considered realistic fiction, right? So like the How I Survived series is a lot of realistic fiction. They take real events and then add fake characters into them. Kind of like what Marcus is describing. Daniel?
Non-fake.
Sure.
That's not a word.
Sure.
That's how I think of it.
All right, so yeah.
So
So we're going to be looking at a particular set of words that are used in nonfiction. This is something that Mr. Reed created, so I have to. So that's what he decided to use for his little thinking picture. So we're going to be looking at three words: chronological, temporal, and sequence. So we're going to be looking at these three words. And what do we think they might be, or what they mean? So let's start with the first one. What in the world does chronological mean? What do you think chronological means, Brecken?
I think maybe into it, or the meaning of it.
Sure. Zoe?
I think it's a kind of like a genre thing, but same person who used it.
Okay. Okay. Marcos?
Chronological means something that goes in order. For example, say you have a book about World War I, and you also have a book about World War II. The World War II book could have been made before the World War I book, but the thing is that's not how the realistic event took place in real order of the time.
Okay. All right, so you're saying if you're going to order books by wars, World War I should go before World War II. Okay, so I've got an example there. Daniel?
Chronological is it has to do with something.
Okay, so you think it's going by a certain sort of order? You pick whatever order topic it is, and that it goes by that order? Is that kind of what you're trying to say? Like alphabetical order, something like that? Okay. Amelia?
When I hear the word chronological, I think of a timeline. It's kind of like chronological order, where you think of first God created the earth, and then the flood, and then it's just order and everything in its order. One way I remember that though is if you read Greek mythology, Chronos is the titan of time, and chronology is the study of time, so you can see that in there.
Okay, so you're breaking the word down and trying to use that as your understanding for it. Yeah, so it has something to do with time and order. So that might be a pretty close definition for it. So what in the world does temporal mean? What do you think temporal might mean? Zoe?
Vocabulary, it kind of sounds like that.
Okay.
So it might be saying, a temporary part in time or something.
A temporary part in time. Okay, Daniel? Okay. All right, let's go to sequence. What is a sequence? You think sequence might mean? Reckon?
I think it means like it's a main part of the story, like in the sequence when something happens, and another sequence when something happens.
All right, so like the sequence of events, like this event happens, then this one happens, and this one happens after that. Okay, that's a good example. Amelia?
I kind of think of a sequence as a Rube Goldberg machine because one thing kind of leads to another.
Okay,
That's a
one thing
sequence.
leading to
So,
another.
It makes sense and it fits like a puzzle.
Okay. Daniel?
Like loops that go in rivers.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go into an activity here. And here's what I want you to do. I'm going to have you get a whiteboard, marker, and eraser. And we have a bunch of dictionaries down there. Now, if you do have your iPad with you, you could get on dictionary.com. But you're going to use one of those sources to look up the definition to chronological, temporal, and sequence. And you're going to write those down, okay? And you need to be prepared to share those definitions that you found. All right? Any questions before we start?
I'm ready.
All right, go ahead and start.